pre-retirement leave for civil servant. On international scene, massive Russian attack on cities across Ukraine kills at least 16 people. And in sports, Liverpool in advanced talks to appoint Anthony Iraola. Those are our top stories. Details coming up now. First on the news, the Redeemed Christian Church of God RCCG has dismissed claims that its general overseer, Pastor Enoch Adeboye, campaigned for the government in power, insisting that he has always maintained a neutral stance on partisan politics. In a statement on Tuesday, RCCG Public Relations said the cleric has consistently encouraged members of the church to obtain their permanent voter cards (PVCs) and exercise their civic right by voting for candidates of their choice rather than endorsing any political party. The church also refuted claims that Adeboye called off a planned protest, explaining that he merely communicated the directive of the Pentecostal Fellowship of Nigeria (PFN) regarding adjustments to a 3-day prayer program and rally. RCCG further rejected allegations that the cleric intentionally keeps silent on national issues, noting that Adeboye has spoken on several occasions about insecurity, corruption, economic hardship, elections, governance, and the need for righteous leadership, often through moral guidance, prayer, and counsel rather than partisan political confrontation. The church urged the public, bloggers, commentators, and media organizations to verify information concerning Pastor Adeboye and RCCG through its official communication channels before publication. Publisher and former presidential aspirant Dele Momodu has dismissed allegations by former Secretary to the Government of the Federation SGF Babachir Lawal and that the African Democratic Congress ADC presidential primary was manipulated in favor of former Vice President Atiku Abubakar. Momodu, who made an appearance on Monday's edition of Channels Television's Politics Today, described Lawal's claims as unconvincing, questioning why he failed to provide evidence to support his allegations. Defending the former vice president, Momodu said Atiku's political and business record speaks for itself. Momodu suggested that Lawal's criticism may stem from personal resentment. Responding to concerns about Atiku's age, the publisher argued that age should not be a barrier to leadership. Lawal resigned from the ADC on Monday, alleging that the party's presidential primary was rigged in favor of Atiku. Take a listen.
It is not a big blow because the message always goes with the messenger. So you have to look at who is speaking, what he is talking about, how he is saying it, why he is saying it. I did a master's degree in English literature, and we were taught what they call the sociological approach. And the sociological approach is you must know where a man is coming from to understand why he's saying what he's saying. For me, he was rambling. He sounded a bit confused about the subject matter. At what point? He is a man who is above 70. So at what point did he realize that Atiku is what he is calling him? And I listened patiently to your telephone conversation with him, and I could see a master of ambiguity. He was very ambiguous about Atiku is a Fulani man. When did he become a crime to be a Fulani man? A Fulani man that people were accusing of being a Lagos boy. A Fulani man who was an Igbo man. His life, Atiku's life today, is in the hands of an Igbo man. And Dr. Azubike, Ndukwe has been his doctor since he was in Aso Rock. He's an Igbo man. So the message always goes with the messenger. So you have to look at who is speaking, what he is talking about, how he is saying it, why he is saying it. I did a master's degree in English literature, and we were taught what they call the sociological approach. And the sociological approach is you must know where a man is coming from to understand why he's saying what he's saying. For me, he was rambling. He sounded a bit confused about the subject matter. At what point? He is a man who is above 70. So at what point did he realize the article is what he is calling him? And I listened patiently to your telephone conversation with him, and I could see a master of ambiguity. He was very ambiguous about Atiku is a Fulani man. When did he become a crime to be a Fulani man? A Fulani man that people were accusing of being a Lagos boy. A Fulani man who was an Igbo man. His life, Atiku's life today, is in the hands of an Igbo man. And Dr. Azubike, Ndukwe has been his doctor since he was in Aso Rock. He's an Igbo man. So, and this is the man, if Atiku is sleeping upstairs, the man has his bedrooms downstairs. That's the physician who goes everywhere with him. So how do you call that man a Fulani man who wants other people to die? Anybody who knows Atiku will know that he's one of the most cosmopolitan leaders we have in Nigeria today. He's one of the leaders who minds his own business. He is able to run a business. He does not live on government. He does not control any state where he's collecting dividends or whatever you want to call it. So listening to him, I feel very sad. And he's a Christian. I'm a Christian. One of the first things I learned in Sunday school was do not judge people because you will be judged. Here was our Baba that was sacked. He was sacked by the Buhari government who brought him into power, to be the secretary.
Members of the Nigerian Union of Teachers in Lagos and Ogun States on Tuesday joined the Take It Back movement to stage a protest over the abduction of school children, teachers and the principal of a school in Ahoro Isinle, Orire local government area for your state. The protesters who converged in different parts of Lagos and Ogun State condemned the worsening insecurity across Nigeria and accused the government of failing to protect schools, teachers and pupils from incessant attacks by terrorists and armed bandits. Carrying banners and placards with several inscriptions, the demonstrators demanded the immediate rescue of the kidnapped victims and stronger security measures to safeguard schools across the country. The demonstrators lamented that schools, which should serve as safe centers for learning and development, have increasingly become targets of kidnappers and terrorists. Speaking during the protest, some of the protesters said the continuous attacks on schools were creating fear among teachers, parents, and pupils, while also threatening the future of education in the country. They noted that many teachers now go to work in fear, particularly in rural communities where security presence is weak and attacks by armed groups have become frequent. Meanwhile, the Plateau State Police Command has confirmed a deadly night shooting in Gwang Ajong village of Foron District, Barkin Ladi local government area, saying 5 people were killed. Police Public Relations Officer Alfred Alabo said officers of the Gindiri Division received a distress call at about 9:22 p.m. on Sunday and immediately mobilized to the scene. He explained that the attack occurred while residents were gathered for a social event. According to the PPRO, officers arrived to a grim scene. It added that the location of the incident, which lies between Mangu and Barkin Ladi local government areas, sometimes leads to different reports on where the attack occurred. Alaba further said the Commissioner of Police had already issued operational directives to the Deputy Commissioner of Police in charge of operations. He also confirmed ongoing joint security operations. However, the National Publicity Secretary of the Berom Youth Molder Association, Ruang Tengwang gave a higher casualty figure, saying at least 7 people were killed in the attack. He added that more than 10 others sustained severe injuries and are currently receiving treatment in hospitals. Community sources further alleged that the attack came after a period of relative calm in parts of Plateau State, claiming that killings had reduced until after the conclusion of political party primaries ahead of the next general elections, and are certain not independently verified by authorities. Security agencies say investigations are ongoing, while patrols and surveillance operations continue in the area as efforts intensified to apprehend those responsible. Away from insecurity, now the federal government abolished the 3-month pre-retirement leave for civil servants. The directive is contained in a circular titled Correct Interpretation of Public Service Rule 120243 on pre-retirement activities, issued by the head of civil service of the Federation, D.D. Wilson Jack, and addressed to top government officials including ministers, permanent secretaries, service chiefs, heads of agencies, and other senior public sector administrators. According to the document, the federal government directed ministries, departments, and agencies to immediately discontinue the practice of placing civil servants on what is commonly referred to as a mandatory 3-month pre-retirement leave. Wilson Jack argued that such a provision does not exist in the public service rules, and that several MDAs had wrongly interpreted the retirement notice period as an automatic leave period, leading to the premature withdrawal of officers from active service. The public service rule, according to her, only requires officers due for retirement to give 3 months notice before their exit date, attend a 1-month pre-retirement workshop or seminar, and use the remaining period to regularize service records and pension documentation. Nigeria's Federal Civil Service Retirement Framework is governed by the Public Service Rules and the Pension Act and Pension Reform Act. Under the rules, civil servants retire upon attaining 60 years of age or after 35 years in service, whichever comes first. The Head of Services Directive seeks to standardize the implementation of the public service rules across Nigerian and government institutions and to prevent manpower losses resulting from the early disengagement of experienced officers. You are currently listening to the World News at 12 right here on Voice of the People 90.3 FM. We'll go straight to our analysis segment where we have Elvis Elimihele. He is one of our in-house analysts. He's a public and a current affairs analyst. Mr. Elimihele, thank you very much for joining us on the News at 12.
Good afternoon, Solomon. How is your day?
We thank God. Thank you for joining us once again. Let's go to the first topic of discussion, which is the first story in our news item. Politics, states, and church. I'm trying to be as sensitive as possible with a topic like this, because when it comes to religion in Nigeria, it is a very sensitive and dicey topic, because we are very, very religious in this part of the world. So criticism have trailed the Redeemed Christian Church of God, the general overseer, talking about Pastor Adeboye, Pastor Enoch Adeboye rather, where there have been several allegations of him supporting the present administration, and as expected, the church have come out to defend the general overseer, saying he's always been neutral when it comes to politics. I don't know how true that will be, considering the first lady is a pastor of the church. Well, what's your general overview about this situation, first of all, before we start talking about some of the nitty-gritties?
Well, Solomon, it's just because of the way we take things in this part of the world. You see, Pastor Adeboye is first of all a Nigerian before he became a pastor in a Redeemed Christian Church of God in Nigeria here too. So, but unfortunately, we thrive in those things that are not supposed to be issues. Religious matter is not supposed to be part of what we should be trending on when we are talking about politics.
Okay.
He has massive followers of
Indeed.
his church.
I mean, RCCG is one of the biggest church in Nigeria.
Yes, and you discover that all these followers have their different political leaning.
An ideology.
An ideology which the general overseer, even if he's their spiritual father, cannot, decide for them. So when some people are talking about bringing men of God into politics, I always look at them, leave them. The altar itself is another duty entirely that is even bigger than these earthly political offices. Everything we speak about in the society today, Solomon, they see it in the altar. Is it that when somebody is sick? Is it that when some family cannot pay school fees? Is it that even this latest one, another song? Do you know now that these families that have been adopted now, almost all of them belong to different religion. In their respective churches now, they'll be praying if they can, if they cannot raise the ransom. So I think we should play down on bringing men of God into a political atmosphere.
Throughout humanity, the world has always been religious. Throughout humanity, whether from Christianity to Islamic religion to Buddhism to the ancient religion before the emergence of Christianity, and the world and religion have always been interwoven.
Yes.
Is it possible to separate them? Because even history have shown religious leaders have always been involved in politics. I mean, a lot of these religious organizations, the spiritual leader of those religions usually emerge through church politics, as a matter of fact. Even the Pope and Catholic is the same thing. The Pope has always been, in history, there was a time where the church has been, where religious leaders have been involved in anointing kings and presidents. So separating both of them, don't you think it's more of an academic exercise than reality?
Yes, it is difficult to separate them, but you see why they are interwoven. It's just that whatever is affecting the society affects the church.
Definitely.
Because the church is made up of members who belongs to.
And also whatever affects the church affects the society.
Yes,
because a member of this society, are members of these different religious organizations.
If the government of a particular country is not doing well, it reflects on the members. And therefore, the leader of that church will begin to be pressured in a way. So this is why you see men of God now come to talk about government and politics and governance. Because like what we are going through now, insecurity now, there's no man of God now that will not be affected. In a way, even if a member of your church is not adopted or not, some people may just come, Daddy, I want to travel. I want you to pray for me. In that form, you are now reminding the head of your church, the leader of your church, that the society is not safe. So if he gets this kind of request 2 or 3 or 4 times in a month, that will not be able to give him the inference that, okay, something of this nature is really happening. This is why members are coming to seek prayer before they embark on the journey. It's the same thing is when you see that members will say some members' children are not able to go to school because of the financial situation of their parents. They cannot pay their school fees. And it tells on also the members, and by extension, reflect on the lifestyle of their leader. And the leader will also say, our children are not supposed to be out of school. We are supposed to be like future leader of tomorrow. So parents, if you are not doing. You see, some churches raise money for some people, for some of their members to be doing something.
A lot of religious organizations, including churches, have civic responsibility to the society.
Unemployment has also become an issue. You see, retinue of graduates, youth that finish school, they don't have job, and they attend, some of these churches. You see, some of them that are doing well in their respective churches, they first of all announce employment in their office, employment opportunity in their office. For anybody within the church that is qualified, please apply before they even go to other mass media for such thing. You see, so in general, Solomon, whatever is affecting the society affects the church, and also affects the church also affects the society.
Now, this situation have always divided opinion. Even in let's take US for example, a country where so many countries take their democratic principles from. We know. There've always been two different ideologies. We've had people that think the church and the state should be separate, and they've tried to make policies to implement that. And you have other parts of another side of the group that said, look, these two, it's interwoven. You can't separate them. Christian nationalism in the US. We know some of the ultra-conservative churches in the US. According to them, Donald Trump is God sent. And then you have the religious organization that are liberal leaning, that think Donald Trump is evil, or whatever name you want to call it. So the church has always been divided.
Yes.
But one thing is for sure, it's been part of the society, whether intentionally or not.
Otherwise,
but I want to ask you personally, as Elvis Elimihele, what side of the divide are you on? Do you think religious leaders should stick to spiritual guidance and not be involved in politics, or do you think they should be involved in politics, because at the end of the day, policies, governance, and political situation will affect their members directly or indirectly?
Yes, to me.
I mean, it's you I'm talking.
There is no way a man of God will not be involved in politics. Because if you are talking about making the society livable, and you are truly a man of God who believes in what you preach is what you expect people to do, come out and give your service to the generality of the people, not just to your church members alone. Do you understand? Because if it is well with your church members alone, it's not well with the society. It will still affect your church member and even still affect you. If there's crime rate outside and your church members are doing well, one or two of your church members might be victim tomorrow. So if you believe you have that capability to give that leadership, across board, that will make people to live a better life, genuinely, come out and seek for such position. Martin Luther King Jr.,
yes,
it was a man of God.
Malcolm X, a lot of them were religious leaders.
Malcolm X was a religious. So in their own regards, they played a role
in the liberation of blacks in US.
And you see?
Now, but that doesn't come with its own, it comes with its own problems, because especially in a divided world like now. Because even religious leaders in the US are also facing the same problem. Either way, if you're neutral, is a problem, especially when the world is on fire. People want you to come out and address what's going on. But at the same time, if you pick a side, especially in a divided world, the opposite of the political leaning will attack you. So that comes with its own side effect. Let's use Pastor Adeboye now as a point of contact. His wife, the First Lady, is a pastor of Redeemed Christian Church of God, and which have given rise to allegations and insinuations that he is an APC supporter. And especially at a time where Nigerians are hungry, insecurity in an all-time high, the health sector, the educational sector is in disarray. these are some of the negatives we're talking about. If you pick a stand, the opposite political platform, well, will attack you. This is the situation.
Yeah, this situation is dicey because of the First Lady's involvement in his, I mean, as a member of his church and all that. But let's remember that the First Lady has been a member of that church before he rose to that position of being a pastor.
Definitely. But
yes,
she has always been in politics.
Yes, but no, she's been in politics. But we have seen that as it is today, there is no way people will not be pointing accusing finger on Pastor Adeboye because of the closeness of the First Lady to his church. But that's not the issue here. The issue here is if Pastor Adeboye preaches at the altar against the government, how will the people take it? People will say, yes, he's saying the truth. Then if he decides to lie low and begin to even talk behind, do you think he's not talking? He's talking. People will say he's not speaking. So it's just because we have over politicized religion in Nigeria. We have over politicized it. There are some certain things that you are not supposed, that are not supposed to be things that are supposed to be bothered with the church. But unfortunately, everything about Nigeria now, if you are not part of it, I mean, if the church does not speak, the church is culpable. It's not supposed to be. It's
not just Nigeria. I think it
it
is the times we're in right now.
We are talking about, we are using Nigeria as yardstick now. I know it's most of the things we pray for in this nation, Solomon, they don't pray for them abroad. As I'm living here now, I'm going to be praying that by the time I get to let me meet light at all. Do you pray for that abroad? These are already things that are settled. Even as I'm going now, one will now be praying, oh God, I pray I don't run into kidnappers or whatever on the way. Because the system has not taken care of all this.
Prayer points are different, depend on the environment.
So many here that there are so many things that we now use to bother men of God. That's why I'm saying that if they believe that they can make correction to this in the system, they can, come out. The only problem is that the umpire that will throw you, into that governance, that people will see your effect, is very bad. Yeah.
Now, here's a difference between the north and the south, southern parts of Nigeria. In the north, where a lot of the northerners, listen to their religious leaders, it's easy for religious leaders to lead their followers, in terms of political decision, and to a large extent, they do listen. In the southern part of Nigeria, it's a different ballgame where southerners are independent-minded, both politically and otherwise. Do you think in that situation, religious leaders, especially here in the south, needs to do more in terms of political guidance, not just spiritual guidance in this instance? Do you think religious leaders need to speak out more?
If you are even talking of religious leaders that have been speaking out more in this nation, it's more of the certain religious leaders. Do you understand?
Speaking out publicly.
Yes.
The northern leaders do speak out, but not as public as the southern leaders.
The leaders are only interested in their followers, telling them this is the line you should follow. But here,
I mean, a lot of these members go through indoctrination based on what their spiritual leaders want them to do.
In the north. That's what they practically do in the north. They pick the microphone and tell you this is their leader and this is what you must do, whether it favors them or not. Look at the trajectory. All the people that they preach to, how many of them are actually even though they are left from right, what they are doing? You still have almost about 18 million children on the street. Why have they not spoken to that? When they have a functional government in their respective states. Do you understand what I'm saying? But if you have such thing in the south, the certain men of God speaks more vibrant. When they were talking of 2009, 2010, when we were talking about, the president is sick, late Yaradua is sick. Therefore, power must be transmitted to the vice president so that the country can move. We see political religious leader here organizing protests, carrying flights
which is one of the points I wanted to make. I wanted to
flight
make
to Abuja.
Especially during the Jonathan administration, we saw a lot of religious leaders protesting, but we've not seen that now in this government, where things are an all-time high in the negative direction for Nigeria. Lots of religious leaders have actually just been making subtle.
I don't want to start mentioning names, but
we don't need to mention names.
But listen to some of the preaching from some of the altar. You see that even you from time to time you see Pastor Bakari, even using his preaching to like press conference.
But don't you think that's limited? I mean, in the Jonathan administration, they actually came out, led protests.
Yes. Today, every one of them is speaking individually in their respective churches. The only thing that differs is that kind of collaboration they had during Jonathan, they've not done that as much as expected.
Why though? I think that's where this frustration is coming out from, because Nigerians are frustrated, rightly or wrongly.
If Nigerians are frustrated,
they are frustrated, and they are venting. So I think right now it is the turn of religious organizations and Pastor Adeboye has
they
become
should not
one
look
of.
at Pastor Adeboye alone in this matter. Look at other men of God who are also doing this thing. Oyedepo preaches every day about this government and tell Nigerians that this is not the kind of government Nigeria should pray for. And even when you are voting, vote wisely. Is it because all of them are not on the street? They preach in their altar. Look at their sermon. So they should not begin to point accusing finger at one person because he has not done it. Even he is not even relenting. Adeboye is still speaking. I'm not a member of his church, but I know too well that what Nigerians are going through today, he is not happy about it, because the pressure is also much on his members, and that pressure is direct to the altar.
Okay, I'm still talking on it. There's a whole lot to talk about in that regard, but because of time, still on the insecurity situation. NUT, Take It Back activists that didn't protest over abduction of school children in Oyo State. It started yesterday with NUT in Oyo State. It is spread into other parts of the states now, including Lagos today. How much impact do you think this will have? I mean, this insecurity has been going on for years.
Even before the Oyo incident, where has been NUT? NUT is not Lagos State teachers.
It's nationwide.
It's not Oyo State teachers. We have had even the recent. We started right from Buniyadi, Federal Government College, Buniyadi, where young boys were slaughtered in the hostel at night.
I mean, it went way back to the Chibok girls.
Before it got to Chibok girls, down to Kebbi girls that day, to Papiri, now in Oyo. Where have they been?
You think this is a protest coming too late?
It came too late. That is what we are talking about. That we should not begin to arrogate this thing as North and South problem. If you said your organization is national union, by the time an injury to one must be an injury to all. You should not begin to say, because it has not got to my own doorstep, now it is now with us. So this protest should not be something that it started yesterday, today, then tomorrow is gone off, because these people are not stopping. The insecurity is not abating, and even the way the government is handling it, the government is not handling it as if it is important to them to solve it. So I would have expected to see NUT nationwide talking of occupying their respective state government offices and even Abuja. Do you understand? It is not just something of Oyo, Lagos, pinpointing, maybe tomorrow I do joint. No, let it be a national matter, so that the president, whose responsibility it is to safeguard the life of Nigerians that voted for him and is so, constitutionally to protect their life, we know that he has the responsibility. We are talking about children with the bandit, and yesterday was like jamboree. Nigerian Navy and president were celebrating. The president's wife was somewhere donating cars for buses to women youth, women organization for campaign. Is that not an aberration? These children are there, teachers are there. Nobody's talking about them. As we talk about the teachers in Oyo State, remember they would still have the same thing in Goza in Borno State. Almost the same day they were both of them. These two incidents happened.
So, in other words, you're saying that NUT is all of a sudden waking up because it is.
They should wake up, and NIC should join them. NIC is the umbrella body. They should join them. If these people that you call NUT and they pay dues. They pay dues because before they are to become registered member, and NIC is the umbrella body that covers them. What's NIC waiting for? Why have they not even mobilized the teachers all this while to say no, this thing must stop?
Now, this is bring me back to some of the criticism that these organizations have during the NSAS protest. Why the NSAS protest wasn't exactly, I mean, these were young people. It wasn't exactly without its criticism. There have been people that have said that if these unions have joined the youth in the NSAS protest, maybe Nigeria would have been a better place right now. I mean, they don't need to do it in collaboration with these young Nigerians for it to have had the effect. NSAS are having, the youth in Nigeria having the NSAS protest. Labor unions should have joined, organized their own protests. NUT, TUC, ASU, these would have had a bigger national implication. Maybe the Nigerians were all of a sudden complaining about would have been a different place.
That's exactly what I'm saying, Solomon. You see, go and look at the way protests are organized in France. It's about one of the countries in the world that knows how to manage protests. Everything about them, once they are aggrieved, they hit the street. Remember last time when it was the farmers went to their farmers, started bringing refuse and debris from the farmers, started packing it on the street and packing it on government offices. That's how it's supposed to be. You see, when it was NSAS, they said, oh, the youth, because they carry dreadlock, they now paint, put earring in their ear. It is their own offense. They forgotten that these youth some of them, they have parents who are either members of these various unions we are talking about. You understand? Nobody said we classified it as youth affairs. Then there was bad governance. Remember that after NSAS, there was bad governance. Where were these
different unions?
Where were they? This one now is no longer talking about you. This is bad governance that is affecting everybody. Even bad governance, this insecurity we are talking about is part of it. This starvation is part of it. You know, what Nigerians are going through now, it's all about bad governance. Where were they? They were the fringes. These were supposed to be led by them. That no, a worker who earns 70,000 naira today under my leadership as NLC president or whatever, is that person living in Nigeria today 70,000 naira? Because before you even earn it, the bad economy has already taken it off from you. So one would have expected that we would have seen a more mobilized action to support Nigerians. Let's not look at the number of
what we see is we have individual organizations.
And you now see comedians and all these activists now leading them. That was not how June 12 protest was organized in 1993 when we were students. We have NANS, coming out. We will have joint action when we have Jack. Well, that means all the umbrella body are part of that, and all the state must comply as we move out. But look at what is going on today.
Now, don't you think educational activities, especially in secondary schools, should be on hold now until this school kidnapping, has been resolved? Because personally, I still don't understand why, especially in the the middle belts in Plateau, Kwara State. I still don't understand why schools are still operating with these kidnappings going on almost on daily basis. Don't you think that's something that should be considered until at least until these schools have been assured of better security for the pupils and students?
Let me tell you, Solomon, it's even overdue now. Because we are talking of Oyo now. We don't know the next. They have seen this thing as fertile ground. This terrorist, and they will continue.
They've seen it as good business.
Very good business, and they will continue. So therefore, this is the time NSC should work with NUT. Forget about whether you are a private school or you are a public school. Let all the schools be shut down for now.
I mean, if schools were operational during COVID-19, they can still be operational now.
Yes, and remember that we have what we call Safe School Initiative. Now, money was given to this nation to safeguard this. This is even supposed to be an opportunity now for NSC and NUT to begin to ask, where is this money? What has it been used for? Because most of Nigerian schools, they just throw in and pick children. Because no security, no even ordinary fence. We don't have it. Most Nigerian schools. So this is the right time. That's okay, let us shut down, even if it is next 1 month, and see the action of government. What the government is going to do about this. Today, APC government boasts, they celebrate and says that FAC allocation is fat to states. State governors cannot fence schools, cannot deploy local security, even if it's their own vigilante, along with NCDC officers, civil society, civil defense, to at least, we are not saying begin to confront them, give intel now to avoid this kind of just strolling in and packing children into the bush.
Now this brings into question security structures and architecture in Nigeria besides state police. We know that in so many other countries, besides the government organized security structure, we also have private security. Yes. And these depend on the grade of the private security. Some of these private security organizations have license to bear arms.
They bear arms, yes. In South Africa, it's a very good business in South Africa.
Yes, and this is where the services of this private security comes into the fore. Private organizations can hire these private security personnel with the most of them are ex-servicemen,
yes,
retired military men, retired police officers. Majority of them they are well trained, and these security agencies are owned by people that are linked to even covert operations.
Yeah.
They are well trained. Isn't that time we bring that into Nigeria? Because it is obvious that government alone, let's not even talk about the political desire to even bring this insecurity to a close. Even if there is political desire, our security architecture, don't you think, needs to be expanded much more than state police?
Yes, we have some very few one in Nigeria.
Yeah, but they are not licensed.
They are not licensed.
Exactly, they can't bear arms.
And even their training, some of them, their training is not as sophisticated as
I mean, you need to see some of these private security personnel. You laugh.
Yes.
No, I'm talking about in Nigeria.
No,
you can't exactly call that a private security architecture. So we're talking about
rejigging it.
Yes, we're talking about retired military personnel that because of their blood and their sweat and security, just transitioned from government security agencies to private security agencies. At least that's what's obtainable outside Nigeria.
That's what's obtainable outside, and it's effective. But go and look at the way they are taken care of. Go and look at their remunerations and packages that is associated with it. They end well. They do their job
they do. The private security personnel and even higher than government.
Look at the ones we have in Nigeria. They are ragtag. I mean, somebody coming to secure your life is any 18,000 naira.
And most of them have even turned to beggars.
They're beggars.
You go to bank, and by the time you're coming out, they're telling you anything for your boys. I do not expect
a millionaire that has a guard in his house and is being paid 18,000 naira. When he hears even a knockout, he will run because he can't withstand it. So if there are proper training and they are well remunerated, regulated by the government, some of these can also help. They can even help to break into government. This is what we are seeing here. This is what we are seeing here. We are not really saying that they must be the one that will carry the guns to start confronting these people. But intelligence matter. Intelligence is even the key to everything fighting insecurity. Before they came to this school, they have come to do reconnaissance service. They know when to come in, they know where to follow and where to leave.
And sometimes even these schools get to hear the information and report to security agencies and no action.
With levity to it. And that's always been an issue. We have heard such stories in Kwara State. We've heard even in Plateau that they will say, this is what we see, and at the end of the day, they will just turn their faces out of it, and these people will now come and strike. It's so shameful. It is so shameful.
Talking about government activities, the federal government abolished the 3-month pre-retirement leave for civil servants. This is one topic that's been causing controversy, not just in Nigeria, all over the world. I mean, there was a time, there was even huge protest in France. Yeah. Talking about France, where the president Emmanuel Macron wanted to increase
in years of retirement. And they said no.
No, I mean, we young ones, but it can go hand in hand if the government know how to manage it well. But what's your take on this situation here?
No, you look at the situation, Solomon, over the years. Why has it been the other way around? So nobody could read the art that this present head of service has just brought, that civil servants are not even supposed to go on 3 months retirement leave before now. So nobody could interpret ever since. So that's where the issue has always been. Now she has now said no, it must not be that way. We are now reversing it, that civil servants are supposed to even stay till the end of their before their retirement. Instead of going on leave, they will stay and begin to perfect their papers and begin to attend different seminars. Yes. So you will now discover that who interpreted the one that have been in practice. Somebody would have done that to favor him, and it became a norm. And now it is now be reversed. But do you know what? Go and look at the way Nigerians are going to now protest over this, because people who have been benefiting from this system ever since, we don't allow this to fly. These are the issues.
But what are the benefits there?
No, people just take 3 months before your retirement. Some people just travel abroad. We don't look at this.
Because one thing I know is, there's a whole lot of falsification of age in the civil service, because a lot of people want to keep working, because especially in a country where job is difficult to come by, and a federal government where some retirees go through hell to get their retirement entitlement. A lot of people don't want to leave. So where would the protest come from?
No, it depends on the position you serve in government. These people that get to that level of permanent secretary, director general, whether they are in office or they are not in the office, you know what they take. So these are the same people that came up with this law, and these are the same people that even when they are supposed to go on this retirement, they are somewhere abroad pretending to tell the world that they are on retirement leave, while their entitlement as full salaries and all that goes on. Imagine the office you lock up, all in the name of you are retiring, and nobody has taken over that seat, and seculars and whatever are coming to that office for you to attend to. Correspondence, nobody is attending to it. There is a lacuna. It breaks down the flow of government. But now the new head of service has now said, no, such must not occur. Let the person that is going begin to perfect his or her paper while waiting for the person that will take over. That means there will be no vacuum any longer. Which is do we have this kind of vacuum in private sector? We don't have it. Why was it so celebrated in the public sector? Because you have government money to play around with. Then somebody will now say, hey, I'm on vacation leave. The person that is deputizing cannot deputize because your guy is still his shadow is still there until the guy leaves and the office is not functioning as expected. Things of this nature has actually whittled down the effectiveness of civil service in Nigeria.
Mr. Elimihele, thank you very much for your time. It was a pleasure talking to you.
Thank you, Solomon.
That's Elvis Elimihele, a public affairs analyst, talking to us live on VUP 90.3 FM on the World News at 12. And now to international news, Russian missile and drone attack has killed at least 16 people across Ukraine, including 2 children, marking one of Moscow's largest assaults in recent months. An 8-year-old boy and a woman pulled from the rubble of an apartment block were among 11 people injured in Dnipro, killed in Dnipro, regional officials said. In the capital Kyiv, 5 people were killed. President Volodymyr Zelensky said civilian infrastructure and energy facilities have been targeted across the country, injuring dozens. Russia's defense ministry said the strikes had been a response to previous Ukrainian attacks, saying in a statement that the strike objectives had all been achieved. Moscow last week warned it would launch systemic strikes after accusing Kyiv of a deadly attack on a student dormitory in an occupied part of eastern Ukraine. Kyiv said it had hit a Russian military unit. Zelensky had warned a massive strike was possible in his nightly video address on Monday and urged residents to pay special attention to air raid alerts. On Tuesday morning, he said Russia has launched 656 strike drones and 73 missiles of various types, ballistic, cruise and anti-ship, in the overnight attack. Patriot missiles have been in short supply, exacerbated by the US and Israeli war against Iran. Since returning to power last year, Trump has also stopped direct supplies to Ukraine, so Kyiv's European allies have been buying them from the US before sending them to Ukraine. Still on international news, at the main airport in Ituri, the DR Congo province, the epicenter of an Ebola outbreak, reopened on Tuesday after a 10-day closure for safety reasons, the government said. The Democratic Republic of Congo is battling a major epidemic of the highly contagious hemorrhagic fever that is suspected to have killed at least 246 people in the country and neighboring Uganda, according to the African Union's health agency, Africa CDC. On May 23, the authorities suspended all commercial flights to and from the airport in Bunia, the capital of Ituri, in the conflict-plagued eastern DRC, allowing only medical and humanitarian planes in. Health Minister Samuel Roger Bamba said the authorities needed to put health measures in place to protect the travelers. On Tuesday, the Transport Ministry said the authorities had assessed how the outbreak was being monitored and concluded conditions are now in place for a gradual and safe resumption of flights. And finally, on our sports news, Liverpool are in advanced talks with Andoni Iraola as they look to appoint a new head coach following the sacking of Arne Slot. Iraola left Bournemouth at the end of the season and is the clear favourite for the role at Anfield. Liverpool are keen to make an appointment at the earliest possible opportunity and want a manager who fits their preferred playing style, which is to deliver front-foot, aggressive football. No approaches have yet been made with regard to Iraola's potential coaching staff, but the 43-year-old Spaniard is keen on bringing his sporting director, who previously worked with Iraola at the Cherries. The Reds sacked Slot on Saturday, just a year after the Dutchman guided them to the Premier League title. And just before we go here again, our top stories: Redeemed Christian Church of God defends Pastor Adeboye's political position, says GO remains and maintains neutral stance. NUT and Take It Back activists lead massive protest over abduction of school children in Oyo and Lagos. Police confirm attack in Plateau community, say 5 killed. FG scraps 3-month pre-retirement leave for civil servant. On international news, massive Russian attack on cities across Ukraine kills at least 16 people. And in sports, Liverpool in advanced talks to appoint Andoni Iraola. And that's the World News at 12 from Voice of the People 90.3 FM. I am Solomon Ofem. Good afternoon and thank you for listening.